So Paul, I want to take some time and talk about your new book, Crossroads, that comes out
November 13th.
November 13th. What's it like to have another book coming out after The Shack, right?
Well, you know, you can't do another Shack. It's just something that had a life of its own, unexpected. This is kind of on purpose. My first novel on purpose. And frankly, the process wasn't hardly different at all. I, collect ideas and sit on them, and to me, the imagery of being pregnant is very appropriate. Everything is inside and you ignore it for a while, and then it gets old enough where it starts to kick you. And you're a little uncomfortable about it, and different things remind you that, oh yeah, there's something growing here. And then there comes the time where it's time.
Talk about how you would describe Crossroads.
Crossroads is fiction, and the title actually is, I think, perfect for the book. Most of us, or many of us, we're sort of gunning hard as we can on the straightaways. We got the pedal to the gas and we are going. And we don't stop long enough to think about how our choices are rippling through relationships around us, and how people's choices in the past rippled through us. We're just trying to get to the next thing. And the main character is a very successful business guy. He is running and gunning hard.
You explore several interesting themes, but you also explore other characters, one of which is suffering from Down syndrome.
Right. The Crossroads gave me an opportunity to do a lot more community.
Right.
And so Tony, the main character, ends up in the middle of a set of relationships that are outside his frame of reference. And one of them is Cabby, who is a Down syndrome boy. Suddenly he has to deal inside the world of Cabby. And the reason it'll feel like, man, this is for real, it's because this is for real.
And so because that relationship issue, it drives you back to having to talk about God in that way.
Yeah. And it validates a crossroads anyway.
Yes.
Because this is fundamentally in our life, our damage comes through relationships, and so will our healing.
Tony ends up going into a coma through a series of unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
And through him, you explore this larger thing that we all wonder about, that you call, instead of afterlife, the life after.
When people use that kind of language, they think that life is about what's happening just now. And so our perspective ends with death, and death becomes then the enemy. But if this is before life, or life before, and then we have life after, then there's the continuity as life itself.
What's interesting about exploring that for you? Why did you do that?
It's an open space. It's a non-defined space. It's very ambiguous. What can we do inside that space, right? Because it's real space, and we don't know how time moves, and we don't know what kinds of things are happening.
Why do you insist on presenting a God that is so passionately in love with people?
If we don't, we have no hope. And not just with people, with me. And I know where I come from. I know the kind of damage I've done. I know the kind of stupidity. I know the kind of religious bigotry and self-righteousness that I've been a part of. I know where all my shame is. It's not just for people, it's also for me. And that matters to me. And what it's done, it's moved me more and more towards what I believe is the same kind of love that exists inside that communal relationship of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Other-centered self-giving. And as I become a better father, that's the kind of love that is rising up inside of me for my own children. And now I'm starting to actually care about the children of others, the children of my neighbor, and then my neighbor, and the children of my enemy. Well, that begins to sound a lot like Jesus, and I'm thrilled about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.